It may not be news by now, but this summer we had a baby, and then I tried selling my Jeep, and then we decided, hey, let's keep the Jeep and let's keep the baby. And because we're keeping both, I have a unique problem. I want a baby monitor in the truck. I want to be able to use a baby monitor in the camper. I want one while I'm driving so that I can see the baby in real time. I want to be able to do that without having to buy just a flimsy mirror or a super expensive in-car system. And so I've come up with something, and I'm excited to show it to you. So I'm just going to get straight into it and show you all the things that I bought to make this work. This isn't budget, but it's also cheaper than buying a ready-to-go in-car system that's, well, stuck to your car. The cool thing about this, I can take it into the camper. I could take it into a tent. I could take it into a hotel, into the guest room of a family member. Wherever the baby is sleeping, I can take this. And that is why this thing is so cool. I think you'll like it. Let's get into it.
To start, you'll need a camera. This camera and all of its parts that I used, along with suggestions to help you get your system dialed in for your specific vehicle, are all outlined in the blog post linked in this video's description. I came up with this idea when I saw that an in-vehicle camera system already existed, but that it's $200 and uses a cheap suction cup on the windshield and then cheap elastic straps on the headrest. I almost bought it. But I realized that with my fancy Jeep bounce and vehicle modifying experience, I could come up with something more secure off-road and just as portable between cars, the camper, hotels, and wherever else I need a baby monitor. I picked up this Mom Cozy camera because it was only $100, has a night vision mode, operates on radio, not Wi-Fi, uses USB-C for power, and has 1/4-20 threads on the bottom of the camera. The display is surprisingly sturdy. It feels way better than I thought it would when I ordered it, and to describe it in one word, it is stable. And because it is battery powered, you don't need to have permanent power running to it. You can charge it off of your vehicle's USB ports or charge it at home before you're leaving on your big trip. I have the 67 Designs rail and the 20mm ball mounts in the Gladiator, but in our Bronco Sport, we don't have anything like that. So I'm using the Peak Design car mount. This magnetic mount is good enough for on-road driving. However, you'll want to look at something much more secure off-road. This is why I strongly recommend the SlimLink 20mm mount. It integrates nicely with systems like the 67 Designs, Bullet Point, and Tacform. It is a magnetic and locking system. I have been using this to hold my phone, and I trust it on any terrain. I cannot recommend it enough for this display and obviously for your phone as well. Attaching the SlimLink attachment to the display is super simple. It attaches using 3M adhesive. Begin by cleaning the rear section of the display where you will be placing the SlimLink attachment and just use the provided alcohol wipe, and then apply the attachment as soon as it is dry. Press firmly across the entire attachment to ensure a strong adhesion. There are countless ways and places to mount this display. I like it up on my Epic Crow that I installed in my last video, but my wife preferred it on the dash, so that is where it will be. I will add here that if you don't want the Peak Design SlimLink, the 67 Designs phone mount, it's a clamp. It also works great for holding the display. Both options are available via the blog post that is in the description. In the Bronco Sport, I noticed that this pocket under the radio perfectly fit the Peak Design car mount, so I figured out where the off-center position would be for the display, and I adhered the mount upside down to the roof of that pocket. In all truthfulness, this works, but I want something stronger. The Ruby Grid from Bullet Point seems like the best option for the Bronco Sport, and that is likely what we will be adding to this Bronco Sport in the future. All right, the display location, it's all figured out in both vehicles. Now we need to find a home for the camera. In the Jeep Gladiator, or if you have a Wrangler, it is super easy, especially for forward-facing car seats. I am using the Vector Off-Road Contour rail on my soundbar. This is very similar to the rail that is on my dash from 67 Designs, but it's upside down and it's in between the overhead speakers. From here, I can run a friction arm to the back seat and then hold the camera with a 1/4-20 mount. It isn't perfect for rear-facing seats, it just means I need to run my display upside down on the dash. Not the end of the world. I'm using the USB ports that I installed with my Epic Crow to power the camera, and I just ran the USB cable over the soundbar and then into the ports of my overhead molly rack. This is likely more than most of you are willing to do just for a camera, and I totally agree. The camera is just one of the first modifications I am adding to my Epic Crow. To mount the camera differently, we'll pop over to the Bronco Sport. Now, I went with this baby monitor because it will be easy to move between our two vehicles. The wireless battery-powered display is as easy to move between vehicles as a phone, and the camera is light and compact and quickly unscrews from the mounts to be moved as well. In the Bronco, I'm using a small bar clamp from 67 Designs. This clamps to the headrest bar and gives me a 20mm ball mount that will hold a short friction arm with a 1/4-20, similar to the setup in the Gladiator. And the good news is that through this method, I learned I could run the USB cable forward to the center console, which had plenty of length to reach. Admittedly, I got this camera position wrong on the first try. I thought I had the camera high enough to be behind the headrest and work just fine, but when I turned on the camera, all I saw was the headrest. So, back to the drawing board. I played with the arm position for a little bit and realized I could rotate the bar clamp with the ball on a 3/4 angle. This allowed the friction arm to reach the front center of the headrest, and there I could mount the camera. This worked even better for the rearview mirror because now there isn't a camera blocking the rear window of the Bronco. With the camera in this new position, all that was left to do was adjust the camera using the display and then run to the back seat to make those minor adjustments to the camera that centered the baby's car seat on the display. And there it is working as intended. No setup beyond installation is required. The display and camera are already paired, and it just takes a USB cable to the camera to get an image on the screen. I can't say that this is perfect yet, but I've laid the groundwork for it to be a really stellar system and am very happy with it. As I make changes or updates, I will detail them in the blog post that is in the description, the same one that I can't shut up about. Just go down there and check out the blog post, especially if you're watching this a year or more from now, because you'll want to check that out to see how this setup has evolved.
All right. Do you think that's as cool as I think it is? I mean, I've got a display that is rock steady. I can drive off-road with it, or I can just pop it off, put it in my wife's Bronco Sport, drive out to see some family, and then when we're there, take the whole system out, take it into the house, watch the baby inside, or if we're in the camper, pop it out from the cab into the camper, keep an eye on the kid, wherever, whatever. It's like an infinite possibility camera system, and it is much cheaper than if you bought like a automotive specific system. So I'm pretty proud of it. And if you're proud of it and you maybe got some inspiration from this video, you want to copycat what I did, please do. There is a link to a blog post in the description. All of the links in there to buy this stuff, which does earn me a commission, that's all in there. And a little bit more of a detailed walkthrough, even though we're all different. Unless you're copying this and doing it in a Jeep Gladiator or a Bronco Sport, then hey, everything you need is there. So, all right, that does it for me. If you like this video, please like this video. If you have a question, leave me a comment. And if you want to hang out again, well, make sure to subscribe. Until next time, I'm Justin B. McBride.